Hello to my esteemed audience. I hope you are all well. 2024, what an amazing year. Today I want to give you a snapshot into what my year looked like. But before we get into that, I often think about years in the same way that I think about days. Now, a lot of people say that we shouldn't waste our days, right? But I often say we shouldn't waste our years because a year essentially is a macrocosm of the microcosm of a day, right? So you have a day, then you expand it out to a week, then a month, then a year. And so I think a lot of us don't really appreciate the years that we have on this earth, and so we essentially waste them. We obviously waste our days as well, which then compound and become wasted years. So I know personally that we all don't have a lot of time on this earth, and so the years that we have, we are blessed to have, and so we should take advantage of that. And so every year, I like to grab every year by the proverbial balls, so to speak, and do as much as I can in each year. Have a certain intention for the year, a certain plan. Obviously, life will throw you a million curveballs, so you may have to pivot every now and again. You don't have to have too many plans, right? I usually don't have many plans, so I can easily pivot when a curveball is thrown to me. But I wanted to say that to you before I get into what my year looked like, because I think that's a spiritual teaching in and of itself. Just realizing that we don't have a lot of years on this earth. Even if you are blessed to live to 100, that's only 100, right? It's a very short span of time when we look at it from the universal perspective. So don't waste your time. Have a clear intention every year, what you want to do, what you want to achieve, where you want to go, which we'll get into. And just having an idea of what you think your year should look like will help you going forward. And that's helped me going forward for many years, because I know 1 year is not a lot of time. I usually look at my life in a lot of sense from 5-year blocks. So usually I would look back on what I've done in 5 years and think, wow, that 5 years went pretty quick. And so I think that we can all think about our life in that way, right? Now, to look at 2024, what an amazing year. And it's been a great year on the channel, been a great year for my work. It's been great to connect with all of you first and foremost. There's no doubt about that. But if we go back to the beginning of the year, if we go all the way back to February, I traveled back to India and got reacquainted with Varanasi. It's been a long time since I've been reacquainted with Varanasi, and Gayung and I went there for a little bit of sadhana before we had the North India tour with an amazing group of people, 5 amazing souls: Alethea, Chris, Kurt, Laura, and Karen. What an amazing group of people. So before that tour began, Gayung and I went to Varanasi, got reacquainted with it. We done our own personal sadhana. We would go to Asighat every morning for the morning puja, which is one of the most beautiful experiences you can ever have in life. If you ever have a chance to go to Varanasi, yes, the night puja is beautiful, but the morning puja is meditative, almost otherworldly when the sun rises over the Ganga. But anyway, after that, we drove to Patna to get ready for the North India tour. So we drove to Patna in Bihar, and those 5 people came, and we went on an amazing journey together. So we started in Patna. We went to Nalanda University, the oldest residential university in the world, which was the home of some of the deepest knowledge ever in history before it was destroyed. And then we went on to Rajgir, which was the place where the Buddha would go on his own personal sadhana, his own personal retreat. And then we went on to Bodh Gaya, which is where the Buddha attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree there, the amazing Mahabodhi temple. It was just a real pleasure to show these people this amazing place, really dear to my heart, and just to sit under the tree together and meditate. Something that you cannot explain, right? It's hard to explain those type of experiences in words. And then after that, we traveled all the way to Varanasi, which was a real wild adventure. It was an amazing adventure to Varanasi, about 6-7 hours. And in the van, our tire exploded. And then we had this faulty spare tire. So then we drove around for like an hour and a half looking for a good tire that was at least going to get us to Varanasi. And so we finally got there, and it was a beautiful experience. We got to show the people around Varanasi. We experienced both the morning and evening artis. We visited the Lahari Masha Samadhi, where we got to meditate for a little bit. We got to visit Kashi Vishwanath Temple, where we got to see one of the 12 Jyotirlingams, which was an amazing experience for everyone. And we just had a real great time, spending a lot of good time along the Ganga there. I mean, there's many things I can say about that tour. It was absolutely beautiful, perfect in many ways. And then once everyone left, Gayang and I had a little bit of downtime in Rajasthan. We went to Rajasthan. Now, I have never been to Rajasthan before, and I've always taken a teaching from the Dalai Lama personally, where the Dalai Lama said that you should always travel to somewhere new every year. And I've done that basically the majority of my adult life, no matter whether that's on another country. It could be just in another town, the closest town to where I might be staying. But I've took that advice personally, and I truly understand why the Dalai Lama mentioned that, because it is really good to go and kind of rewrite your framework and see the world anew, right? See the world fresh with cleansed eyes, because the way that you see the world in your comfortable environment doesn't matter in a new place. And so we went to Rajasthan. I'd never been there before, and we went to Pushkar. And so Pushkar is famous for Pushkar Lake. It's a beautiful, quaint little town. And so we got around there, spent a lot of time in some of the temples there. And then we went to also Jaipur, which is the capital city of Rajasthan, and spent some time there. Went to the Amber Palace and places of that nature, which was an amazing experience. And then after that, in April, we came back to Thailand, and we went to a place called Samoing, which is a small rural town. We absolutely love these rural towns in Thailand. We spent a little bit of time there in Samoing on our own personal meditation retreat. And then we had to procrastinate a little bit about what the next step was going forward, because the original intention of 2024, the main place we wanted to go to was Ladakh. But because the tour was such a wonderful experience, and at the same time a taxing experience, we were procrastinating whether we should go so soon to Ladakh. But you've only got a real brief window to go to Ladakh, right? And so we kind of thought we need to follow our own advice here, because as I mentioned to you guys earlier about how you have to take advantage of every year, sometimes the decisions you make might feel uncomfortable, but they are the right decisions that you need to make. Because most of the time, the most uncomfortable decision was the best decision you've ever made, and is one that helps you grow spiritually. And so we said, to hell with it. Let's go back to India and go to Ladakh. And so early May, we arrive in Ladakh at high altitude. I've been at higher altitude than this before, but I've never lived at high altitude like that. And Ladakh is 3,500 meters high. So it's quite high, and it's quite high to live at, but you do get used to it after a few days. And you just do things a little slower. You know, you just go about your life a little bit slower, and things kind of pan out, and everything is all good. And Ladakh is an absolutely amazing place, a once-in-a-lifetime place to visit. It really, really is. We are actually planning a tour there in the future. If you're interested, leave a comment below. It's such an amazing place. We got to visit the oldest monastery in Ladakh, Alchi Monastery. We got to visit the famous Tiksay Monastery, one of my personal favorites, and all of these other monasteries on the periphery that you don't hear about. And we also went to one of the bigger monasteries, Hemis Monastery, where it's believed that there's a manuscript speaking of an individual called Saint Isha from the Middle East, who the locals and a lot of people believe was actually the historical Jesus, but that's a whole other story. But Ladakh in total, the people are amazing. We had the opportunity to stay along the Indus River. What an experience. Absolutely amazing. Once in a lifetime. We are definitely going back, possibly next year. So like I said, if you're interested in that, leave a comment below. Now, after that, we stayed the whole month of May in Ladakh, which is great in and of itself. But we weren't quite ready to leave India just yet. So there was one place in particular I wanted to go to, have always wanted to go to, and it's Almora in Uttarakhand, for the reason to visit the Kasar Devi temple. Kasar is like this area just outside of Almora. And this was unbelievable. This place blew my mind for many reasons, and it's definitely a place I'll go back to for sadhana. The Kasar Devi temple is amazing, and above the Kasar Devi temple there's actually a Shiva temple, which is one of my personal favorites all throughout India, to sit and meditate early in the morning. And just the natural environment of the Himalayas there, the green Himalayas. We went from the Mars-like Himalayas up in Ladakh to the green Himalayas in Kasar, which is quite a good contrast. You could actually breathe again in Kasar, right? Which is a relief. So we were kind of done with travel for a little bit then, right? And so then we had a lot of downtime. And in July and August, I actually had the Advanced Teachings of Taoism course, and we had an amazing group of people for that course throughout July and August. It's a 6-week course. I will be running that again in 2025. Anyone interested in that, please leave a comment below. And yeah, just an amazing group of people. And after that course, we went to Bangkok. Now, you don't go to Bangkok to have a rest, do you? But we went to Bangkok to get reacquainted with Bangkok. We actually lived in Bangkok in 2012. So we wanted to go back and just get reacquainted. We have been flying in and out through Bangkok, no doubt about that, but we had not stayed there for any longer than a couple of days since 2012. So we went there and visited one of my favorite temples in Bangkok, Dhammamongkol Temple, which has a jade Buddha and a jade Bodhisattva. A real beautiful place. We did visit many other places in Bangkok, but that was our personal favorite. And so I stayed for a week in Bangkok. I mean, a week's a little bit too long, but we stayed a week and absorbed it and took advantage of the city. Now, after that, there was a lot of planning for the Nepal tour in November. So we actually went to Nepal early in October on our own personal spiritual retreat, our own sadhana, and we reacquainted ourselves with some of the places we love, particularly within the Kathmandu Valley, and got to see our old friends in Nepal. It had been a while. And then in November, we had one of the best groups we've ever had on any of our tours, which we actually dubbed the Golden Shawls, because I did give everyone a golden shawl with the 8 auspicious symbols of Vajrayana Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, if you will, which I have done in the past before, but some of the members thought it would be cool to nickname ourselves the Golden Shawls. And so it was an amazing group of people. And it was all a first time for all of them who came to Nepal. We had a group of 7 people. And I personally just want to thank those 7 people for coming. An amazing group of people, beautiful souls. We had Chris, Dara, Scott, Matt, Mike, Srinivasan, and Ross. What a group of people. 7 beautiful souls who came together from America, India, Scotland, and obviously Guy and I from Korea and Australia. So just an amazing group of people who came together, and we all got to experience, particularly in the Kathmandu Valley together, and just to see the look on people's faces. Like I said earlier about Bod Gai, to see the impact a place like that has on the participants. For example, on the Nepal tour, when we went to Swayambhu, a couple of the participants were overwhelmed to the point of tears, which, for myself personally, I'm always crying anyway, but every time I go to Swayambhu, I'm moved to tears as well. So that was just an amazing experience to share with everyone, with those 7 participants. So just a beautiful journey in and of itself. And after that, Guy and I were completely tapped out. It was an amazing adventure together, but we needed some downtime. So we traveled down to Tiruvannamalai, went back to see a lot of our friends in Tiruvannamalai, to circumambulate Arunachala, spent a lot of time in Ramana Ashram, just decompress from the tour. And then again, in following the Dalai Lama's advice, we wanted to go somewhere new, and so we had never been to Kuala Lumpur before. We've flown through Kuala Lumpur a million times in Malaysia, but we thought this time, okay, we're going to get out of the airport and we're going to have a look around. And it was a beautiful city. It was actually really breathtaking to see the Batu Caves, which are completely amazing. The Batu Caves are completely amazing. We saw some other Taoist and Hindu temples, and we went to Little India and Little China and all these places in Kuala Lumpur. But the highlight definitely was the Batu Caves when we went there and got to experience the Tamil culture in Malaysia. So it's kind of crazy when you think about it, because I would meet Indians who were born in Malaysia and who have never been to India, which is really mind-blowing, right? And so I would tell them about Tamil Nadu and places like that. And they would think that I'm blessed and this and that, which I'm not. But it was a lot of great experiences like that in Kuala Lumpur and in Malaysia in general. And so after that, we're back here in the studio. Here I am. And so the year is done. It's time to decompress and reflect on a beautiful 2024. What a year. And there were many other things that I'd done throughout 2024, but they were kind of the highlight of 2024. And I was just speaking to Guyang the other day and thinking back about the year and just thinking, look at the amount of things that we had done, but it felt like it wasn't work at all. We had done all of this, and it's just amazing what happens. Like I said to you before, when you grab a year by the proverbial balls and you take your life seriously and you don't waste the precious time that you have on this planet. And so it's just amazing. Now that's 2024 in the books, right? Now we can look ahead to 2025. And I was thinking, what should be the intention of 2025? And considering my esteemed audience here and what you are interested in, you're interested in the deeper spiritual knowledge, right? The deeper spiritual teachings. I thought the intention should be sadhana, right, for 2025. It should be deep, honest, and sincere sadhana. Now, that doesn't mean you need to go away to a cave and practice meditation for months on end. You can have your sadhana in your own life, in your own working life, actually. But in the spare time you have, you take the opportunity seriously, right? And so that means study, that means meditation, taking your meditation practice to a new level, taking your spiritual comprehension to a new level as well, right? You don't want to be one of these know-it-alls or non-dual police or neo-Advaitins in the modern day who have completely warped the teachings and lack a deep understanding and have no humility. You want to keep that humility, which allows your sadhana to go deeper, right? And so for your sadhana to go deeper, that means that you need to be serious about your study on the spiritual texts, about your meditation practice, whatever your spiritual practice may be. Maybe you practice Tai Chi Chuan, maybe you practice Hatha Yoga, taking that practice to a new level, but not wasting the opportunity. Part of the year of sadhana for myself personally will be taking my commitment to teaching to a whole new level. Not just here on the channel, but also in courses and retreats and tours and so forth and so on. That's part of my own personal practice. Now, having that commitment keeps me sharp because obviously I have to stay well versed in the scriptures. I have to stay committed to my own personal spiritual practice. Not that I wouldn't be doing this anyway, because this is my life, but having this platform keeps me motivated, keeps me inspired because of people like yourself. So that's going to be part of my own personal spiritual practice. Obviously, I'm working on a few new books, so there's a lot going on, and I have a new book coming out next year, which I won't tell you about just yet, but it's coming out around October, and it's been a long time in the pipeline. I basically wrote this book a few years ago, and it's just taken a long time to come out. So anyway, that'll be coming out, but I'll also be working on 2 new books and obviously working on numerous videos on this channel. Like every year, it seems like we've got more and more videos. So I hope you are all enjoying the content. I love this platform. I love this community that we've built. And like I said, part of my spiritual practice is to stay committed to this platform, this community, and helping others on the spiritual path. But for yourself personally, staying committed to the scriptures, staying committed to understanding deep spiritual knowledge, going deeper in your meditation practice, just being an all-around good human being. This is part of our sadhana for 2025. So I'm excited about that. And I think that we all need to remind ourselves that 2025 is the year of sadhana. It's not that every other year isn't the year of sadhana, but having a commitment to that, particularly with the last few years that many people have had. And so it's a good chance for us to stay committed to the spiritual path, not to veer off it, not to get so influenced by the distractions of the world. And so that's basically 2024 in a nutshell and a plan for 2025. So looking forward to that. Like I said, in 2025, we're going to have a lot more courses. Leave a comment below if you're excited for the courses or if you're interested in coming on tour with Guyang and myself somewhere, probably in India. And so I hope you are all safe and sound. Happy New Year to everyone. Merry Christmas to everyone as well. And I will see you all in 2025. 2025. Shanti, shanti, shanti.